Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We're going to be talking about Saul Niguez, Varane, the latest on Jadon Sancho, but a little bit late this morning because we've just had some breaking news that Donny van de Beek is out of the Euros. Look, just gutted, absolutely gutted for the lad, really. I mean, he's had a terrible season at Manchester United where he's been underused. He goes away for the Euros with Holland and a chance to put a bad season behind him. And he picks up an injury. He's hardly played any bloody football and he picks up an injury. So, really gutted for Donny van de Beek there. And, you just wonder about his future. He doesn't really have a big impact on his future for United in some ways. But he is one player where you can't sit there and go, well, at least he gets a summer off to rest. Because he's had a whole season off to rest. If this was Marcus Rashford, it'd be a massive blow for England, or Bruno for Portugal. But you'd go, well, at least they get the summer off to be ready for United. But in Donny's case, you absolutely wanted Donny van de Beek to be fit for the Euros. So he's just had a bad year, more than a year, because the Dutch league didn't actually come back from lockdown in March. So he's hardly played any football in the last 14 months, and a massive blow for Donny van de Beek. Really gutted for him on that one. Ollie out, said somebody. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with Ollie. But yeah, unlucky for Donny and unlucky for Holland as well. Another player that they've lost. Obviously, Van Dijk's not going to be playing for them either. So yeah, disappointing for Donny on that one. But let's get on with the latest transfer news. I'm just going to start off with a very quick Jadon Sancho update. I don't really want to talk about Sancho that much at the moment because I think there's a lot of people getting really silly thinking that this deal's going to happen in the next 24 hours because it's going to happen before the Euros. As I said last night, over the moon if this happens before the Euros, but don't expect it to happen before the Euros. I think you got mugged. I think you got played. I think these sources, a couple of which I know are good sources, got played. I think this whole Sancho before the Euros thing has been a manipulation by somebody who wants to keep the Glazers out campaign quiet, because United signing Sancho before the Euros never made any sense to me for many reasons, but a lot of people I trust were saying, don't be surprised if it happens. And I think that they've been victim of people who've leaked that out to try and, successfully actually stop the Glazer out campaign and through June. So they've succeeded. I don't think anything will happen with Sancho. But The Guardian are saying that Manchester United, Dortmund will let Sancho go for their €90 million fee, which is 77.5 million. So hopefully that will be the fee that we pay. I think 77.5 million or 80 million is fine. Anything above that, like I said, 80 million plus 20, ridiculous. We don't have a lot of money to spend this summer. We can't be spending over 80 million on Jadon Sancho if you want centre-backs and centre midfielders. Like, Sancho's not worth more than 80 million quid. I like him, he's a good player, he's not worth more than 80, and if they want 80 plus 20 or 90 or something like that, United should walk, because we don't have a lot of money and we need to spend it on other players. But The Guardian this morning saying that Manchester United can get Sancho for 77.5 million, 90 million euros, which is what Dortmund want. Ahmad to Dortmund on loan in Sancho deal, says Daniel Mannion. I doubt it. I doubt it very much. Just on a loan though, very quickly before we talk about Varane, because there's some quite big developments on Varane and Saul Niguez. I read something this morning about Hannibal going on loan to Galatasaray. I don't think that would be a bad loan move for him, but also I just think that, why are we loaning out someone like Hannibal to Galatasaray? So we can keep people like Dan James and Juan Mata on our bench. Would you not rather have Hannibal on your bench to come off our bench instead of Dan James or Mata? But this is what I said last night. We're not going to clear the deadwood. Sancho and Varane or Zakaria and Pau Torres, says Callum Stock. I'd go Zakaria and Pau Torres, to be honest. I want a CDM, Callum. And anyone else ready, fed up with the transfer window? No first team players in before the Euros is a failure in my eyes, says Joshua Bowwater. Also, it's about getting players out the door, Joshua, as well. But let me give you the update here. We've got two on Saul Niguez. Should we start on Saul Niguez? People like Saul Niguez. And we've got a big update on Varane as well. Coop Miners is going to Atalanta. Yes, I saw this last night. I don't know whether he's officially gone yet, but Coop Miners is going to go to Atalanta, is the story. If you're interested in him, United were never interested in him. It was more of a fan theory. I actually had somebody yesterday when I tweeted about Koop Miners going to Atalanta for 20 million, and I said, that's just like Samari. Why United, if United don't want to spend big on a CDM, why not get a Koop Miners or a Samari who can come into the club? They'll be better than what we've got, and they're cheap. And then I got people going, well, you're talking about you've never even bloody watched him. And I'm like, yeah, he played against us twice 2 years ago, and I've watched him play since, you twats. But yeah, he's not going to be coming to Manchester United. We've just spoken about Donny's injury, Aman. If you can't be on time, that's your problem. So let's talk about Saul Niguez. This is coming from Spain. Obviously, he's playing for Spain. He wants to leave Atletico Madrid. Apparently, he only started 22 games in La Liga last season for Atletico Madrid, who won the title. He's not happy about that. He wants to leave Atletico Madrid. Man United have been linked to him. Man City have been linked to him. Chelsea have been linked to him. I'm sure everybody knows everything there is to know about Saul Niguez. He's 26. He's a very good midfielder. What do I think personally are Saul Niguez's attributes that make him a good midfielder? I think he's a very good passer of the ball. I think he's got a great engine, and I think he loves to tackle. And I think those three things would be and I think positionally he's very, very intelligent. So I think those things, look, Saul Niguez is better than McTominay. He's better than Fred. Some would say he's better than Donny van de Beek. But, he's a very, very good player, and he'd be very, very welcome at Manchester United. We won't sign him because, one, we won't have the money to sign him. They will want 70, 60 million. And two, I actually think he'll end up with Pep at Man City, because I think Pep would like... I think he suits Man City more than he suits us, because they've got Rodri, and then if they get Saul Niguez there as well, I think Pep likes his CDM to be able to just play football, and I think Pep would use him in that position instead of Rodri, but I think he'd also play him next to Rodri instead of Gundogan sometimes. So I think Saul Niguez for about 60 million to Man City, it just makes sense for Man City to do that deal. It would be a good deal for Manchester United. He's not really a CDM, but he'd do it better than anyone we've got. Saul Niguez basically is a box-to-box midfielder. He's a centre midfielder. That's where he plays. He's not a holding midfielder. But I do think in a Premier League side, he could do it. And I would take him at United. He's better than anything that we've got. So we are linked to Saul Niguez, but we've been linked to Saul Niguez for the last 20 years. We definitely have been linked to him on a serious note for about the last 5 years. So I think that we'll be linked to him, but I don't think we'll get him. I really don't. Koop Miners to Atalanta just ruined my day, says Voided Light. And they're calling all the world's players. Saul at 70 million is a scam, says A. Well, I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is a scam, because I do think that Pep Guardiola would love him at Man City and get the best out of him. So at the end of the day, if it's good enough for Pep, it's like that song by Dodgy. If it's good enough for Pep, it's good enough for you. I think it is good enough for United. And I think it would be a good deal. I just don't think it's a deal we will do, which is why whenever we get linked to Saul Niguez, or whenever anybody in the live chat talks about Saul Niguez, I always say we won't get him. And as Jamie said, he's on a ridiculous contract at Atletico Madrid. He's on a lifetime contract at Atletico Madrid. Like, there is no end to his contract. And his release clause is 130 million euros. But I think they'd let him go for a lot less than that, to be honest with you. Let me talk to you about Varane anyway. In fact, Kapil says first sign Varane stroke Kunde. Let me say Neves or Saul, says Adwad. Oh, definitely. I think Saul Niguez is a better player than Ruben Neves. Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's massive, but I do think Saul Niguez is better. But Spanish reports talking about Rafael Varane. Real Madrid are offering, or have offered, Varane a new contract. Now, people are like, "Oh, that's the end of that. We've been played. It's another Sergio Ramos from a few years ago." I don't think it is. I will never be surprised if Rafael Varane signs a new deal at Real Madrid. But if he wants more money, he will leave Real Madrid. Now, a footballer wanting more money doesn't make them a mercenary. There's loads of people who play at United for the money. And I don't mean they put the shirt on and say, "Ollie, where's my check?" What I mean is they came to United for the money because we gave them a better offer. There are footballers are like that. Some of them really want to go to clubs for their career. Some of them want to go for their career and their money. And some of them, that's just the way football is. There are mercenary footballers, but I don't think Varane is a mercenary at 28 to say he wants to get a big contract and maybe wants a change. Now, Real Madrid are meant to be offering around 9 million euros a year to Varane. But in the same article, they're saying that Manchester United really want him and they're willing to offer around 11 million euros, and that Real Madrid can't do that. So Varane has been offered deals by Real Madrid, and I'm sure Real Madrid will make another offer for him, and maybe they'll have to spend, offer more money than they want to make him stay, and maybe Varane has no intention of staying, or maybe Varane, if he gets the right money, wants to stay. But Manchester United at this point, and I would say probably one or two other clubs, probably PSG, maybe another club, will be in a position to offer more money to Varane than Real Madrid can. But, of course, he's not out of contract. He's not out of contract. He's got a year left on his contract. So even if Varane was to accept the offer of Manchester United, we would still have to negotiate with Real Madrid. So very, very hard deal for Manchester United to do to get Varane. Very impressive deal if we can do it. But as things stand, and this is coming in from numerous sources, to be fair, over the last 2 weeks, to be fair, Man United want Varane. Man United can offer Varane more money than Real Madrid can. So we'll see how that develops. I don't think it's just United, by the way. I think other clubs will be talking to Varane. He's a fantastic player. I wouldn't be surprised if PSG want him, Chelsea want him, and maybe one other. But look, United have got to be in the equation. And certainly somebody like Rafael Varane is... look, if we get Varane, he's our best centre-back. It's as simple as that. You can argue about that, but he's way better than anything we've got. Ben Anderson says, we don't need one midfielder, we need two. Why are we spending 80 million on Sancho when I think personally Ahmad in 2 years will be better? Ben, it's interesting. I've got an interview coming up on the channel this afternoon with somebody I think you'll find really interesting. And, bit of a spoiler alert, we're talking about transfers. And, midfield didn't get mentioned until I brought it up. And I think it's just, I don't know what it is. There just seems to be this, I don't know. I don't know. I agree with Ben, because even if you think McTominay and Fred are good enough, we've only got McTominay and Fred. What if them get, 55 game season, can't play McTominay and Fred all year? What if one of them gets injured? It's not even if, I don't think McFred are good enough. I don't think anybody thinks they're good enough, but I don't think McFred are good enough. But even if they are good enough, where's the cover? So on every single level, you're right, we probably need two midfielders, but we definitely need one. I don't know. If our requirement was really good enough, we would be talking about Douglas Luiz and Zakaria, says as if. And Tim Wright says, get Grealish now. Mark, how deep in the Champions League do you think Ollie will take Man United if he gets the right signings? Well, got to get the right signings first. Can't really predict on what's going to happen next season until we get players in. And we will bring players in. I just think, as I said before, there has been a little bit of an obsession about pre-Euros. And I do sort of feel sorry for those people, because I think that, some of our fans have got themselves absolutely obsessed that Sancho's going to sign before the Euros, that Trippier's going to sign before the Euros. And I think a week ago, there was maybe a realistic opportunity for that to happen, but those talks have not developed quickly. United don't develop talks quickly. And what I would say though, and I don't think this has been said before, if United don't sign Sancho before Friday, and they don't sign any other player who's in the Euros before Friday, and let's be honest, before tonight, because teams are playing on Saturday, Friday, Sunday, so they're going to be well into their training camps from tomorrow. I think today's the last opportunity for United to do anything really before the Euros, but I don't think we will do. But what I want to say is that if United do not sign anybody before the Euros, what difference is Murtaugh and Darren Fletcher making to this summer? Because again, by the time we sign anyone in July, we'll have wasted 6 weeks. And this is meant to be a new summer for United. We're meant to have a director of football. We're meant to have a technical director. We're meant to, we've got so many deals in and out to do. And yet we're going to do nothing before the second week in July again. So where is I genuinely would say if we don't get anything done in the next few days, we're not going to get anything done until the second week of July. So where is the change from any other season? Or have we just been mugged off again? Oh, look at what we've done. I wanted to see this summer a real change in transfer policy at Manchester United. We still can. But at the moment, I'm seeing the same old stuff. Leaks about signings that actually aren't going to happen for weeks. And deals being dragged out so long that the joy is evaporating. So I hope that something can happen in the next sort of 24 hours, but I don't think it will. Massive article on Sky, is Garner the answer, says Robert McCormack. Thanks, Robert. And welcome to the Members Club, Stephen Edwards. Thanks for joining. You can do that by clicking the join button. You get your little badge next to your name. Thank you, Stephen. What people don't realise is the Sancho and Trippier talk before the Euros was just to please fans before the fan forum, says Vinit. I agree. Do you believe we will sign a CDM, says Itachi. And so we've revamped our team for our football operations, yet all we are only working on one deal at a time. Why haven't we sold Deadwood yet, says Gabriel Noel. And do I believe we will sign a CDM, says Itachi. Well, that sort of goes back to what Robert McCormack was talking about then. I'll make a little prediction with you here then. I'll make a little prediction, and it's a fear. I've been drawn North Macedonia in my work Euros sweep, says Rob Johnson. Forget about it. Don't watch the Euros. You're a waste of time. North Macedonia, no chance. And Zed Jamie says, there's so many defensive midfielders to go for. I'm sure scouts have identified good players. Clowns above will push it to one side. I agree with you that one. Going to be talking about Ben White in a minute. There's an update on Ben White. I wanted to keep that quiet, but there is one. Manchester United have been rebuffed by Atalanta after making a bid of 39 million for Christian Romero. Scary turn. I don't believe we're in for Christian Romero. I've been told that this is a smokescreen. And Joel Cottingham says, can we not negotiate with Dortmund during the Euros if the terms with Sancho are not a problem? Yes, we can, Joel. Yes, we can. But obviously the deal will not be announced until July. Manchester United will be negotiating with teams in June, but they won't be announcing any deals until July because of the Euros. It needed to be done before. But just on that article that Robert McCormack was talking about James Garner, I've got a big fear about this, and I've said it a while. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in United will pretend that James Garner is the CDM that we need, and he's not ready. He's not ready, and he won't even be. Even if he is ready, he won't be ready. There is no way in a million years Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to chuck James Garner into United's midfield next season for anything other than half an hour when we're 4-0 up against bloody Watford or a Carabao Cup game. But we will sell it that we don't need to buy anyone because we've got Garner, and the fans will get all hyped and go, we've got Garner, and then we won't use him, and it'll be McTominay and Fred. For the same reason, if United bought Pau Torres, I still think he'd pick Lindelof and Maguire. And this is what I mean with Ollie. He's got his favourites. He will not use James Garner next season, but I am scared that we will keep him for a year, ruin his development, not use him, and it'll be sold as, he's ready, we don't need him. But remember, it's not even under Mourinho. It's under Ollie. Remember, 2 years ago, we went on tour to Australia and he mentioned Chong, Gomez and Greenwood and said they're ready. And yeah, he did use Greenwood. He never used Chong or Gomez. But he said they're ready. And they never got used. So we've been down this path before where you don't sign players, but you say, we've got these young players that are ready, and then they don't use them. And look, Greenwood's a generational talent. I don't think Greenwood got used massively that year. Well, no, he did, to be fair. But Gomez and Garner didn't. Gomez and Chong didn't. So I've seen quite a bit of Garner. I don't think he's ready for the Premier League to start for Man United. I think he needs to go to someone like Brighton and, maybe get 20, 30 games at Brighton or do a full season in the Championship. But I wouldn't be surprised if United said, oh yeah, he's ready, and just to pull the wool over the eyes. I've noticed great players getting ruined at United. There is something wrong with our coaching setup and our lack of experienced professionals in the department, says Vivian. And Salish says, by saying that about Garner, he's covering Glazer's inability to spend. Well, ultimately, you're right there, because if Ollie wants a midfielder, but he only gets Sancho and a centre-back, and then everyone's like, why haven't you bought a midfielder? And then he goes, because we've got Garner coming back. Then basically, you are just covering for the Glazers, because he wants a midfielder, but they're not going to get him one. So, I've got Garner and never needed one in the first place. Bagel FC, we definitely do. Ben White, story this morning that there's a price tag of £50 million been slapped on Ben White by Brighton this summer, especially now he's been called up to the Euros. This is music to my ears. The last thing I want is Ben White to be available for 35 million, because United might go and do it. If he's up for 50 million, I mean, we'll probably still will do it. But look, he's not a 50 million centre-back. I don't want him at the club anyway. I don't care what people say about, he's going to be a top-class centre-back. Let him go and be a top-class centre-back somewhere else, because We can't afford to take a risk on people like Ben White from Brighton. We need to go and get Varane. We need to go and get a top-class centre-back who's a top-class centre-back now. Not one that might be good in a couple of years for 50 million quid. We've done that before with Wan-Bissaka. We can't afford to go and spend 50 million pounds on one of the most important centre-back signings we've needed to make in years on somebody that might be good. And also, if we sign Ben White, I guarantee he'll still stick with Lindelof and Maguire anyway. Don't want Ben White at the club. Don't think he's good enough. And I'm very, very pleased that Brighton are putting a 50 million price tag on him, because that should be enough to put United off, because there's no way we need to go and overpay on another English centre-back, because we've done that before. And that's nothing against Maguire, and it's nothing against Ben White, actually. He's just not the sort of player that I want at Manchester United. So I'm actually very happy that he is priced at 50 million, because don't want him anywhere near Manchester United. Manage says Donny's out of the Euros. Yeah, we spoke about at the start of the video. Donny van de Beek confirmed out of the Euros. It's so disappointing. Plays next to no football all season. The one player that, I actually think if we were sat here now and I said, what one United player do you think really needs the Euros? And I think most people would say Van de Beek, because he's not played much this season. If he can have a good Euros and take that confidence and positivity into next season, I worry about Van de Beek. I really do, because what's the injury? What's his confidence levels? As a footballer, he'll be having a mental battle at the moment in relation to his football career. Just feel like he's missing out on opportunities. He didn't play much for United. He's now missing out on the Euros with Holland. Where's his career heading? Will he be anywhere near the first team at the start of next season for United? I don't think he will. Is his career taking a nosedive? So I feel massively sorry for him. I mean, I feel massively sorry for us as fans as well, because I wanted to see him playing. I don't think he was a first teamer anyway, but I did want to see him playing, and it's a crushing blow. Can we get Grealish and Rafinha instead of Sancho and sign a CDM, says Akchu. Manchester United are going to sign Jadon Sancho. Whether we should be looking at other players or not, that's up for consideration. But Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho. But yeah, Donny out of the Euros is breaking at the moment due to injury. Alex, who's on our fan forum, says it's great news for United. Now we need Bruno to pull out and Pogba to pull out for France. Well, yeah, putting United first is not a bad idea, but I do believe that Donny van de Beek is the player that needed to be to get some game time, and I think he needed some confidence as well. And I would like to at United. Sean, I guess, says, do you think Bergwijn would be good for United? He's not even good for Spurs, mate. I don't want him anywhere near United. Sachin says, if we sign Winks, we will play McFred, Garner, still McFred. Unless we get Rice or Ndidi or someone better, we will play McFred. Same with centre-backs, says Sachin. And I think the main problem is Matt Judge, who's in charge of all contracts and negotiations. Joined in 2012 when Pogba left, and so many bad deals since, says Duncan. I just don't think the appointment of Murta makes any difference. I think United will be the same old team. Absolutely rubbish. And I've said this before as well. If the Glazers on their fan forum want to talk about, change, why don't you go and sack your board? Like, your board, if I was the Glazers, I'd sack the board, because they, any money that you do put into the club, they ruin it. Like, they're crap. They're absolutely useless. And it's like, there's just so many ways of saying this, but it's like being in a Formula One car. Your tyres are worn down, and you give the driver a drink and say, now go on, try and do a quick lap. You still got the same tyres, and that's what it is. It's like Lewis Hamilton's driving around in his Formula One car, and he can't get the fastest lap because he needs new tyres. And he pulls in and he says it to the team principal, I need new tyres. And they go, get out of the car, Lewis. I get a bit of fresh air, calm yourself down, have some water, you're really hot. Now get back in and try again. But I've got the same tyres. I know, but I've given you a drink, I've put you a new suit on, we've given you a lick of paint. Yeah, you've done a few interviews. Now get back and try and do it. But the tyres are the same. I'm never going to do a quick lap with these tyres. And it's like United. You can paint the stadium. You can buy a couple of players, but the tyres are what drive the machine. The board are what drive Manchester United, and they're tired. They're tired tyres. They're worn down. They're rubbish. They're never gonna. You can send them out for every bloody lap you want. They're not good enough. The board at Man United are not good enough. Negotiations, getting the targets in, removing the deadwood, overpaying wages, not being able to sell players. It's the same old boring story for the last 8 years. They're useless. What do you think about rumours Ollie is considering playing Wan-Bissaka at centre-back? Santino, I think it's been mentioned too much and I think it's idiotic. Basuma is available and exactly what we need, but United board even not looking on him just because shirt sale won't happen on him. Says Garav. I think another huge bit of business that needs to be sorted out is the De Gea and Dean problem. I've heard nothing about it for some time and it needs sorting, says Sam Allen. Good point, Sam. Why has it not been discussed? It's not been discussed because Henderson's at the Euros, De Gea's at the Euros. They're going to go on holiday. They're not going to be back till mid-July. So this goalkeeping situation is not getting resolved, is it? Interestingly enough, watch out for the video we've got coming up this afternoon because we're talking with somebody who's very good on the goalkeeping situation, and they give quite an interesting insight on United and which way they think they're going to go, and also the goalkeeping situation and why it's a shambles. And it is a shambles. It is a shambles. And it feels to me like United haven't hit that head on at all. But you're spot on. Bad CD and centre CDMs. Ollie's bad with no tactics, no in-game management, says Harold Hosversvold. Play favourite over what's best for United. How second. Ollie deserves more respect. And Mark, what's even more sad is that we have a manager that applauds people like Murta, Fletcher and his pals being given jobs. I'm sure he approved, says Saga. Well, look, Ollie's going to back his coaching staff. He's called his coaching staff world class. He's wrong. I think Ollie's a fantastic man manager, and I think, as Harold said, he's done a great job to get us into second place. But if he thinks he's got world class coaches, he's having a laugh. You know, they can't even deal with a set piece. So you know, we don't mark men in the box. We don't go after the second ball. We can't zonal mark. We can't break down a low block. Like, we haven't got world class coaches at all. We've probably got championship class coaches at the moment. So you know, those coaches need to be on a course. Ollie's living in a dream world, says Advath, and stop this myth, he's not a good man manager. Mate, look, I don't care what you say about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and everyone's entitled to opinion, but in my opinion, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a fantastic man manager, and I've spoken to a lot of people, not only from his managing days with the first team, but even going back to when he was managing the reserve team. He is a very, very good man manager. He is. Like, there's not many managers that halfway through a season, when a player says he wants to leave, can sit them down and get them to perform. And he did that with Pogba, you know. The decision making is so baffling. We let a right winger in Pigmol and centre midfielder in Aloha Traore leave and give extension to overpaid veterans in Mata and Grant, says Sahaj. It's all part of the Glazonomics, mate. You know, it's cheaper to keep Mata on 140k than it is to let him go and bring in a player who's, you know, to replace him. United could literally let Mata go and bring in Kalanoglu for cheaper wages, and they won't do it because, you know, it's mates rates. I'm sorry, it is mates rates. It's Mata rates. It's mates rates. I think Ollie wants to keep Mata around the club because he likes Mata. I don't think he looks at the fact that Mata ain't good enough. I think he likes having a player like that around the team. But he likes having coaches that are his mates. He likes having fitness teams that are his mates. You know, Woodward likes having a director of football who is his mate. Like, it's all mates rates within Manchester United. There's no specialism in there. PSG are hijacking deals while the players are at the Euros, and here we are in a one-horse race doing nothing, says Rishad. Well, yeah, Wijnaldum, he's part of the Euros, hijacked by PSG on his way to Barcelona. Deals can be done. They definitely can be done. But I just don't think... The thing is, there are people who will be defensive of this, but you can't speak to agents, you can't speak to people in the industry who will tell you Manchester United Football Club are an absolute shambles. You know, for a club that's so big, they act so small in the transfer market. You can't have people saying that about the club for years and then expect us to be competent. I think as fans, we're a little bit hypocritical at times because we expect the club to be competent, but then we know we're not. So why are we not surprised when we're not competent, when we know we're not competent? I know that we went into this one thinking we've got a director of football now, everything's going to change. And hopefully it still can. But it was wishful thinking when that director of football's already been at the club for years. He's just been moved into a new position. We've still got the same chief negotiator in Matt Judge. Ed Woodward's still there. And Mertz has been here for years. So I don't know why people are expecting, massive changes. We will get Sancho. I'm confident of that. But it'll be the same as Pogba. It'll be the same as Harry Maguire. It'll be the same as Wan-Bissaka. It'll be a 6-week deal. It will take a long time for it to happen. In fact, this deal will be longer than 6 weeks because it kicked off a week ago, didn't it? And it's going to be, it'll be about 6 weeks all in. So the whole new structure we got sold at United is a scam, says Advath. Mark, we should start comparing United to Liverpool. United are a business and Liverpool are a football club, says Sean, I guess. Saul Niguez not signed with Bayern and already finalised the deal, says Androsli. And Vader is dead, says BB to the moon. Okay. And Donny van der Beek out of the Euros due to injury, says Unmesh. Slow sports news, but thank you very much. Mark my words, we're not getting Sancho, says J1 Rems. Well, look, there's always an opportunity that the deal won't happen when it's not actually happened. But I do think we will get Sancho. But can I just be absolutely honest here? When I heard a week ago from people that I trusted that there was an opportunity for United to get Sancho done before the Euros, I didn't believe it because I don't trust United, but I was excited about it like most people were, mainly because I thought, well, if we get that deal done before the Euros, we can focus on other deals. That was the main thing. The second reason I was quite positive about it was because if you get that deal done, it's done. If we let this deal run over the Euros, there is always the opportunity that at some point over the next 4 weeks, whilst we're negotiating with Dortmund, a Chelsea, a Liverpool, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona come in and go, we're interested. The longer this deal goes on, the more opportunity for other ones to come in. Now, Romano's not said it for a long time. In fact, recently he said it's just United. But he did say about a month ago that the summer race for Sancho is more than one car in it. So at the moment, I think there's only United in it. But why would another team not come into it? And I think that that's what worries me as well, is that, yeah, at the moment, I'm very confident United are going to sign him. But the longer it goes on, the more opportunity it creates for other teams to... And I think with Liverpool, it's about creating revenue for Sancho. But what if something happens in the next couple of weeks with Liverpool that creates an opportunity for them to swoop in on Sancho? So I'm confident at the moment, but the longer it takes, the more opportunity there is for others to come in, if that makes sense. Do you think they want Sancho because he can play on both sides, and with Rashford's upcoming surgery we might need that? Later when Rashford's back, Sancho plays on the right again, freeing Pogba in the midfield, says Dale Arthur. And Ollie wants Bellingham to play pivot but has to wait a year for Dortmund to be willing to sell, another year with McFred. Well, that's a joke because we should have got Bellingham in the bloody first place. It winds me up because Bellingham should be a United player anyway. But yeah. Lots of people talking about Donny van der Beek. It is very, very sad. Has ruled out due to injury. That's on Sky as well now, so it's definitely true. What can you do? What are you going to do? It is what it is. I see Phil Foden's had his hair done like Gaza. Oh, God. Good player, though, Phil Foden. He is a good player. I'm not going to knock him for that. Hopefully he can have a good Euros. Okay. If we can get Sancho, Varane, Rice and Trippier, then we're good to go, says Christopher Simba. And I think that's a great point from Christopher as well. Let's focus on that. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, by the way, but we're not asking for a whole new team, are we? I think any United fan would say, look, if the Glazers are genuinely looking to get the fans back on side and show a reform and a change for the better, then, we're not asking for 500 million. They're going to sign Sancho. They've got the money for Varane. You can create the money for Rice. Go and get those 3 players, Trippier if you want. And I think people would say that's a good summer. No one's going to start wearing Glazer in t-shirts or anything like that. But I think if you got a Varane, a Sancho and a Rice, and look, alternatives of course, but those 3 types of signings, people would say that's a good summer. It's only 3. Man City are probably still going to get Harry Kane. Chelsea could still get Haaland. But if we got those 3 players, I think we'd say, you know what? That is progression in the right direction of where we need to go. Let's see how we do. It's so achievable, but they won't do it. Because can you name a summer where United actually went and got everything they needed? I can't think of one. I think the summer where Van Gaal bought loads of players, like we got Schweinsteiger, Schneidlin, that one was quite exciting. But we very rarely do it, and the big teams do. Whether it's Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, when they go into the summer, most summers they will go and get what the manager wants. At United, whether it's Mourinho, Van Gaal, Moyes, Ollie, they don't deliver what the manager needs. And we all know what the manager needs, and we all know what the manager wants. Just go and get him a top-class CDM, a top-class centre-back and a right winger, and yeah, we're good to go. Hi, Mark. What do you think about Donnarumma to PSG, says Paul? Well, it's another player in the Euros going to a club. But this is what I mean. PSG have got Wijnaldum and Donnarumma done before the Euros. And before the Euros, for me, is tonight. Would you be happy with Romero, Rice and Sancho? Says Stratos. I don't think we're in for Romero. I'm not taking any notice of the Christian Romero stuff, because basically I've been told it's not true. So I don't think we're in for Christian Romero. Won't happen, I know, but I think spending 50 million to terminate contracts of Deadwood will be more beneficial to the club than buying new players, says Amy. Wow, I do think we need to get rid of the Deadwood, but I think and by doing that you need to bring other players in. Selish says, does keeping Mata indicates we are not buying another midfielder? I think keeping Mata indicates what this club is all about. Stuck in reverse, going backwards, not ruthless. I mean, look, I can only... There's two examples I use now quite often when people say, when people try and defend United to me in relation to the way that we're run, I'll say two things. First of all, I'll say 3-year plan is a con job. It's about getting people to buy shirts. It's about getting people to believe we're heading in the right direction. On a 3-year plan, Tuchel came in January and won the Champions League in May. In 5 months. You don't need 3 years. Second thing, we're keeping people like Juan Mata, Matic, giving out contracts to people who aren't good enough anymore, whilst Man City are winning titles and telling Aguero and Fernandinho to go. I mean, Fernandinho and Aguero would start for United. If we bought Aguero and Fernandinho, people would be excited. They'd be like, oh my God, Fernandinho is a proper CDM and Aguero's a proper number 9. They would walk straight into our team. Now, some people would say I'd rather have Cavani, and I get that because it's club rivalry. But the reality is, Pep Guardiola is winning titles with Man City, and he's ruthlessly letting players go that would walk into our first team. We are keeping players that aren't good enough, and we've been nowhere near a title. We're talking about 3-year plans, and Chelsea are doing it in 5 months. They're just poor excuses as far as I'm concerned. Thoughts on Haaland to Chelsea, says Josh. Wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it off. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have a style of play, no tactical sense, cannot deliver in finals, semis, cannot even make subs when needed. How is he a good manager, says Akshay? Because he got second place, mate. That's not me saying that, although it is. But that's the argument. You can say all the negative things you want to say about Solskjaer, but he got second place. You don't get sacked for getting second place at Man United. Whether you should or not, you don't. I've told you before. You can have your personal standards, and that's really, really important. But look at the evidence of the last 8 years. If you don't get top 4, you'll get sacked. If you get top 4, they're happy with you. Don't blame that on Ollie. Blame it on the owners. Blame it on the board. You get top 4, you stay in a job. You don't get top 4, you get sacked. Fans will ask for every player, but the management needs to decide what's best for the club, not their pockets. A CDM is a must, says Shiam. And Mark, time to get the Vaseline out for your next chat with Fabrizio Romano. Slick, Sancho a must, Varane a must, Brandon Rice a must. This is James Harrison. Okay, thanks for that. I think we're in for a long, frustrating summer, and I think that we all know that as Manchester United fans, that's just the way it goes. Marcus Rashford's just tweeted about Van der Beek saying take some time for yourself and keep your head up high about him being out for the Euros, which is a nice touch from Rashi. And Sky is saying that Manchester United are closing in on an agreement of 80 million with the Borussia Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. But I think that that's probably to do with the Guardian story that we were talking about. Look, I really do hope that United are going to get this Sancho deal done before the Euros. I think it would send the right message out. I think it would give us time to get other things. I think it would send a message that we mean business. And I'm surprised that United haven't done that, because I think it, you know, in the world we're in at the moment, where they need some ticks and they need some positivity, it would make a lot of sense to get this deal done. Can it happen during the Euros? Look, it actually can. If you go back to the previous World Cup, there were signings with players that were playing in the World Cup. I can't think who it was, but there definitely was. Would it have been Liverpool 3 years ago, or they already had their summer where they got Alisson and everybody? But I definitely remember players who were part of the World Cup last time signing for teams during the World Cup. So it could happen, pending a medical. It could happen, but I think that it's unlikely. I don't think we're going to do anything before the start of the Euros, unfortunately. I hope I'm going to be wrong on that, but I don't think we are. I think that we've been played to a certain extent, but we'll see what happens when that all comes to pass. Fred, a lot of people saying that we signed Fred during the World Cup. The last thing I want to see is Fred in the chat, really. Oh, it's there again. Fred again. Oh, God. What? Just makes you depressed. Please subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right hand corner, we're only 50 away from 58,000. Make sure you do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and have your notifications on, because we will go live if there's any breaking news, of course. Sancho's more of a left winger than a right winger, says Ebong. I mean, it really doesn't matter. He can play right wing and he can play left wing, and he'll play right wing for United. I'm really not worried about Sancho, more worried about the budget that's left after that. Who do they prioritise after Sancho? Do they go for a right back after that, or a centre-back, says Akshay? I think the fact that we're focused on a backup right back when we've got no midfield is hilarious. And we are more focused on a backup right back than we are on a centre midfielder at the moment. Fact. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. We don't even have backup midfielders for McFred. But we're going to go and get a backup right back for Wan-Bissaka, which we do need to do. But bloody hell, you need a midfield, and we haven't got one. Thanks for the contribution there, Mikhail Roach. And our new CDM is a lone player, very good CDM, but zero experience in the Premier League. James Garner, says K9. I think we will get sold that, and I think many of you will get excited about it. And I am excited about James Garner as a footballer, but he ain't ready, he won't get used, and it will just be a cover-up that we're using him as our new midfielder, and we won't use him. He won't start. He won't start him ahead of McTominay and Fred. With the same old midfield. Donny only has had 4 Premier League starts. Appalling. He's featured more on United's social media than on the pitch, says Tabo. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it actually changed at the end of the season, but there was a time for most of the season when Virgil van Dijk had played more minutes than Donny in the Premier League, and Virgil van Dijk got injured at the start of it. But hey, here we go. Anyway, look, we've got a really good interview coming up for you about 2 o'clock today. Watch out for that. 8 o'clock show as normal, and if anything breaks, we'll go live as well. Do watch out for that. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, so you get your notification when it comes out. It's a cracking interview. I'm not going to say who it is at the moment because I need to just check the interview because it did keep dropping out a few times, but I think the audio stays. So let me just make sure it's all good. But I'll see you on that at 2 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Take care. Speak to you in a bit. Let's hope United can do something in the next day or so. I'm not expecting it though.